Hello and welcome to Fergie's Gum. My name's Nathan Irvine, and I am joined, as always, by Mr. Paul Cropper. He's loving it there. He's fist
Good man.
pumping
It
and
was that
everything.
hello. That hello was like enthusiasm. I loved it. Yeah, rock it up, yeah. A bit of that. Needed that. Needed that. Football last night, mate. I'm in bits today. In bits.
Oh
So that
dear,
that hello just stunted me. Go on, yeah, we're off.
that's
Well
what you
done.
needed. That's what you needed. It's been a busy week. Did you have a nice Father's Day? Was you treated
Did,
well?
yes, yep. A few beverages with my father. Yep, it was decent. Got a
Yeah,
new dressing gown. Just the
there
way
we
it
go.
goes. Yeah, it was good.
That's that's nice. I got
About yourself?
donuts. I got
Oh,
donuts. Yeah,
okay. Hmm.
yeah.
A
There's
sugary
still.
treat.
The thing is, they order like 12 donuts, and I end up eating about eight of them because they don't really, even the three boys, they don't even like donuts that much. They'll pick the
I
icing
thought
off,
like
and then that's it.
I thought that top looked a bit tighter this week. A few kilos there in donuts. Loves it.
That's it, mate.
Breathe in.
That's it. That's it. Mate. Get it stuck on. But yeah, Father's Day was decent. Thank you very much. This week has been insane. It's been while the host is away on our radio show, we've had, I was just telling you off air, there's been a rotating list of footballers, ex Premier League players on our show. So I've been producing the show for Matt Loughton, Neil Taylor, and Stephen Ward, which, as you can guess, the common theme between all three of those, all Premier League defenders. So yeah, tight back line, nothing going forward, but yeah, decent at the back. Decent at the back. So yeah, it's been good. It's been fun. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Manchester United as always. So the first thing that we are going to cover right now is, well, basically the news that New Trafford is about to go ahead. The 100,000 seater stadium that Manchester United have long been talking about. Looks like it's finally moving along after, I think, Manchester United, they put out a document yesterday kind of talking about all of the processes and what they managed to do. But the key thing that I saw in there was the fact that Freightliner, who own a lot of the land that they needed or they thought they needed to make New Trafford. I'm doing bunny ears now. To do New Trafford, they didn't need it after all because there was, I think Freightliner wanted 302 million for it, and United valued that ground at about, or the ground that they had, for 50 million. So there was a
Oh,
slight disparity in valuations on that piece of land, but looks like it's going to go ahead. Again, another plug for our show, The Score on Dubai Eye, went on 3.8. We had Lord Sebastian Coe on the show last year, who is part of the task force with Andy Burnham, who's about to become Prime Minister of the UK, as we know, or England, sorry. Um, and he was saying how the getting this process forward with Jim Ratcliffe is the best thing that can happen to the North, because obviously they want to build the Wembley of the North. They want it to have lots of different functionality. They want to be able to host NFL games there. They want to have concerts there. They basically just want a big, huge stadium that's north of the border. So I think that's great. But as a match day going fan, and I know we've talked about this briefly before, is that something that you're looking forward to? I know it's a fair few years off now. Is it something you're looking forward to, or do you think Old Trafford's going to be missed if it does get torn down as is expected?
yeah. How many years has it said it's going to be? Is it 4 or 5 years?
I
Something to
think
that
so.
effect.
Yeah.
It's not going to be anything. 25 acres. Yeah. I was torn in between because it will be missed, Old Trafford. It will be all the moments that you get and the atmosphere that's there. And like I've always mentioned, when you walk up the steps and you see the grass and and yeah, it will be missed. And I think last time we spoke about it, I was like, no, just refurbish Old Trafford, do that, spend the money on that, and keep it the way. The more you you think about it, it's needed. It is needed by United. It's something that we're going to have to accept it and move on because it looks like it's definitely going to happen now, doesn't it? It's not even a thought, and you have to be excited about it. It's something new, something brand new. I just hope they don't get it wrong because you can't. You're putting your faith in people that don't really care. That it's not going to be fans that are going to be going. This is what we want. This is what we'd like. It's going to be money people, and that's what it'll boil down to is money. And I saw a thing yesterday. I can't remember what the chap who long hair from the Stretford Parrot, and he was saying how this isn't the land they wanted. There's already been, this is the first compromise of, right, we've not got that, we'll do that. And how many are you going to have them going down the line? Oh, we've not got this, we're going to do that. So that is a worry. But all in all, Nathan, I look at these new stadiums, especially when you see the World Cup now, these stadiums in America. You look at Spurs' stadium, and I am getting more and more excited the more I read about it. So it's going to have to be spectacular, isn't it, to replace Old Trafford? And that's what I'm hoping it is. If it's mediocre, the fans won't be happy, will they? And I won't be happy, because it has to be a 10 out of 10 stadium, doesn't it? If it's going to be this 100,000 seater stadium, it's going to be this this pinnacle of sports and everything that you said. It will have to be better than Spurs' on a par with the Bernabeu. And like, you look at the Spotify Stadium. It's an awful name for the new camp, isn't it? But you look at them type of stadiums and you think, I just hope it is as good, if not better than them. The Allegiant Stadium is the one that I always talk about. Las Vegas Raiders from the NFL.
Yeah.
Their stadium is immense, and you look at the facilities they've got inside it. That's only a 66,000 stadium, I believe. So for it to be near enough double that, it's going to have to be brilliant. Yeah, I am excited now, Nathan. I've just been reading about it before we came on, and I'm a bit like, oh, I'm looking forward to that.
I think the biggest thing as well, like I know that older fans are probably not happy about it, and it could lose some of the atmosphere. But I think one of the big things is it depends on how the fans are treated. It depends on how the match day going fans, season ticket holders are treated in terms of where they're placed. In the actual stadium. I think that's what's going to help to generate the buzz to help them feel like they're welcome in this new home as well. I think that's going to be a major thing. The seating plans, what they're going to do with the Stretford End, like, are they going to expand it? Are they going to keep it as a signature section? All of these things will really matter in terms of the internals of the stadium themselves. I think it'll look great. I think when it's finished, it'll be something that's incredibly eye-catching. It's getting a go-kart track as well, which is apparently a thing. Spurs' stadium's got one as well. I don't know why, but there you go. Maybe it's a massive money spinner. But for me, the bigger thing, and I worked in Salford Quays, as you well know, back in the day. That area has changed so much. The last time I was there, it's changed so much since I was working there back in 2002. But like, just reading some of the numbers, it's going to be 15,000 new homes just in that area, 48,000 new local jobs, 90,000 jobs nationally, and then over 7 billion for the annual economy in the UK. So I think when you look at those things and you take it all into account, I think New Trafford, New Old Trafford, whatever the name is going to be, I think it's going to be a positive thing for Manchester United and the UK as a whole.
Coppers, transfer,
It's a long one today. Do you know what? As well, the last time that you did a really loud one, the audio cut out. It just said it was too loud. So
did it really? Shut up, Cropper.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
my wife.
Exactly.
Yeah, too loud. Shut up. You're back
So
in your corner.
What have we got today then? What have we got?
We have got there's similar ones to last week, because I think the Somerville and the Fernandez one together. So the Somerville news came out last week, didn't it? And he seems to be adding more millions to his price, doesn't he? Every single World Cup game that he plays. And the Matheus Fernandez ones. Interesting enough, now obviously more people have joined the race with the Matheus Fernandez ones. Don't surprise me. I think the same will happen with Somerville, because they have been relegated and they're obviously up for sale. Now, what the reports are is that United are lining up a £120 million bid for the pair of them, which is why I wanted to bring it up this week. And when you think about it, because we rate these, don't we, about what the chances are of them happening. I think the chances are high of the pair of them happening if United get a move on and can get it done. I know with Somerville being away for the World Cup, it's going to be more difficult. The Matheus Fernandez one, with especially Spurs being linked with him now, because Spurs are pushing for everyone that United are looking at as well. I don't know if you noticed that. Like, it's a Tonali as well. Don't know where they've just got this ambition from, but worrying for me, that one, because if United don't get it over the line soon, he could just commit to one of those ones. So thoughts on them two together? 120 million, Nathan?
Well, the first thing is that we've got a little bit of a feature coming up towards the end of the show, so stick around for that, which is talking about missing out on targets and the history of that at Manchester United over the last 30 years or so. So yeah, do stick around for that. In terms of the Mateus Fernandez and Somerville bids, 120 million. I'm going to say that those valuations, I think they're probably valuing Somerville at 40 and then Fernandez at 80 on that. That's what I'm saying for those. Somerville in the last two games, as we're recording now, he's had, I think it's 2 goals and 1 assist in the last 2 games for the Netherlands, and he hasn't even been starting either. So he's been coming off
No.
the bench and showing this type of impact. For me, I'm still skeptical about him as a player for Manchester United. He's got a whiff of the Memphis Depay's about him in that I think I think he'll be good on his day, but I just don't think he'll be up to scratch when it comes to playing for United and being a starter permanently. Also, who's he going to replace? I just don't.
Mm.
I'm not entirely sure. The Mateus Fernandez thing with Spurs. Spurs cannot, like us last season, Spurs cannot afford to be down in the doldrums like they were this season, almost relegated. So they're gonna go big. They're gonna spend a lot of money this summer. And all of this stuff, oh, they've agreed terms with Tonali, they've agreed terms with Mateus Fernandez. They I think that's all stories from agents to basically kick the hornet's nest of the transfer window and just wait to see who else comes in. Um, but fair play to him if they do get those 2 players over the line. Fantastic. If Mateus Fernandez doesn't want to go to Manchester United and would rather go to Spurs, then so be it. Off you go, mate. You know. But Laurie Whitwell of The Athletic this morning mentioned that yes, there is fierce competition, but there was last season for Matthias Cunha, there was for Brian Mbuemo, there was for Benjamin Sesko, and they still got those deals over the line. So it's not something that I feel that we need to be worried about right now. And if those players don't want to go to Manchester United, then those players don't want to go to Manchester United. They're not what we wanted in the first place.
Do you feel the sticking point is the price? Oh, because from what I'm reading, it's nothing to do with the player. He's quite happy to join United. But if United aren't willing to stump up the money that West Ham are, that want, and Spurs are willing to do it, then it leaves the player no option, does it?
I think it's more to do with the fact that United have a valuation for all of those players, for any player that they're going for, and there's a ceiling to it. And once they hit that ceiling, they don't want to go any further. So then that's when it comes down to negotiations. You don't just go, especially in football, you don't just go to the club and go, "Oh, how much do you want him? How much are you selling him for? 100 mil. All right, here you go. Here's 100 mil." You don't do that. There has to be some sort of negotiations with it. West Ham are not in a great position. They'll want to maximise how much money they can get. It's just they want to get as much as possible and create a bidding war because that suits them down to the ground. They're in the championship next season. So it's not like they can sell players during the season. It's not like they can wait to strengthen. They need money soon so that they can go and build a championship squad that can potentially
Mm.
stay up next season. So let's see how that one pans out. I'm not too worried about it. I've seen some corners of the internet going mental because Man United haven't actually made a signing yet. Even Edison, you know,
Mm.
because they haven't made a signing yet, they're losing their minds. But it's not something that I'm getting upset about just yet. It's a process, and we'll just have to wait.
Yeah, it's always more difficult a World Cup year, isn't it? So
Exactly.
speaking of the World Cup, a man that is popped up on my feed and in the news that United have been linked with before, another centre midfielder, Felix Mencha,
Yeah.
Borussia Dortmund centre midfielder, and for Germany he really is shining this year. He looks a class player, big lad, technically brilliant, wraps the ball into that forward, didn't he, for that goal? It's a great ball
Mm.
into him that for the goal for Germany. Uh, Started at City, if you knew that, Nick. I
Yeah.
don't know if you knew that.
I did. Yeah.
And then moved to Dortmund and seems to be lighting up the Bundesliga. So yeah, another one they've been linked with. The price that they're saying is 50 million, but we know that the press like to do this with United. We're in the market for a centre midfielder, and they do put names out there. But I seem to remember 12 months ago, 6 months ago, he was also linked to United. Obviously, looked at him.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that one?
I mean, yeah, I can see that being done. What I can see United doing is looking at savvy moves in the transfer market now. They know that the marketplace is completely inflated on prices for these players, and they know that it's going to be like bidding wars left, right, and centre. So that could be a player that ends up moving up. Nemecha could move up on the list of potential signings, especially if anything happens with Tonali, if anything happens with Chouameni. Apparently, United is still in for him as well. And
Yeah.
if anything happens with Mateus Fernandez, Fernandez seems to have moved into the number one midfielder position now. It seems to be the person that they want to get over the line, and then they'll put players around him. I still think Carlos Baliba is another one that you need to look at, but yeah, Nemecha, I think he could be a decent one. But then again, we were linked to Angelo Stiller, and then that's gone quiet. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
That
Yep.
that's will be linked, and this is what I have to say to like fellow Manchester United fans, because it happens every season. We get caught up in it, and it's great. Like, it's exciting to think about who could potentially be rocking up in a Man United shirt next season. But the issue that we have is we're probably already, if you went back to end of the season to now, we've probably been linked to like 150 players, and they're not all going to come to Manchester United. And it's never just, oh, United have looked at him. It's always United have spoke to the agent, or they spoke to his camp, and he's agreed personal terms. They can't sign all of these players. So you just have to be calm, tranquilo, you know?
Tranquilo.
Keep it,
Calm down.
yeah,
Yeah.
just keep it,
I agree.
keep it calm.
I agree. Well. So you say that, and the point is on this transfer window segment now. There's not a lot of news out there, to be honest with you. Like we said, that will be down to the World Cup. We're picking out the ones that seem to be coming to the forefront now. Like I said to you earlier as well, there's not a lot out there, which either means United are busy behind the scenes, or there's literally not a lot going on, and they're focusing on the signings that they actually want. So could go either way.
I think they're constantly moving, aren't they? I think they're always trying to get some deal over the line. It'd be gross misconduct if the people that were in charge of that to not actually do anything during these summer months, because you have to prepare it. Whether you're going to get to speak to them or do their medical before pre-season starts, that's another question. But you need to put those deals in place. So I think they're working behind the scenes, and I'd just say that people just need to have a little bit of a moment and just think, it'll get done. And then the new players
Calm
that come
down,
in,
Captain
we'll,
Mannering.
we'll be cheering them on, whoever it is. But yeah, we'll see what happens with the transfers. One transfer that I do hope Spurs get across the line is Marcus Rashford. That's the one. That's the one I'm
It's just on
hoping
my
for.
notes that next. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
the next one I was going to move on to. Yeah, he's been linked with this morning. Um, I'm not sure how I feel about that one. I am kind of hoping Marcus Rashford goes abroad, to be honest with you, because it is one that could just come back and it could bite us in the backside. But I think as long as Marcus Rashford moves on, like we spoke about last week, I think it's good for all parties. But Spurs, they would be eligible to get him for the 40 million that we spoke about again last
mm.
week. So I think there'll be lots of clubs who'll want him, Nathan. It's just whether he's willing to budge on his wages, and
I think
that's going to be the big sticking point.
just from that first thing that you said, and I think we've all experienced this as well, where we're thinking that as soon as he puts on that Spurs kit and he turns up at Old Trafford playing for Spurs, that he's going to score against us. Now, I do understand that, and it's the old romantics in us that makes us feel like we don't want to have our hearts broken, seeing him in another shirt and scoring at Old Trafford, and then will he celebrate? Probably. Who knows? Once you've sold him, it's up to him. But I think we kind of think about if you just do it in a cold business fashion. And I know football should be about the warmth and like the youth players coming through and the local lads doing good and things like that. But he's made his position clear. He doesn't want to play for Manchester United anymore. Regardless of the salary that he's on, all he's thinking about is the bag. That's it. He doesn't want to play for United. He wants to play for Barcelona. Barcelona don't want to pay him because it's not just the initial fee, it's his salary that's on top of that, his weekly wages. He won't back down on it. They don't want to pay it. If Spurs want to, and he's prepared to drop his wages a little bit, and so be it. Off you go. And I wish him all the best, but you can't think of it in that way. You can't be like, oh, I'd rather he went abroad. No, highest bidder, off you go.
It's a good point because basically, I've, how he got on at Aston Villa wasn't terrifying, was it? And is he going to do any better than that? He could possibly be worse than that. So yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Crack on, Marcus. Come on, Spurs, get him.
Exactly.
Another out is a man that we keep trying to sell around to everyone, don't we, Nathan? And it looks like the old Manchester United manager wants to have him back with him. So Ruben Amorim has he been confirmed as AC Milan manager? Or is it
I don't think
rumored? I think.
I don't think it's official, but it's as good
Mm,
as, let's say that.
well, he's going with new trends. Well, the same old trends again, because a man that he wants to take with him is Manuel Ugarte, if rumours are to be believed. So yeah, Amarim, if you do that, you've gone up a little notch in my from the way you went out. So yeah, if it says here 15 million. Well, if we get 15 million from Manuel Ugarte to AC Milan to join Ruben Amorim, brilliant. I don't think we will, but that'd be good for us.
I just cannot see Ruben Amorim, after slagging him off, would want to take Ugarte back there. Like, what's he going to change? What's he seen in him? I watched like quite a bit of the Uruguay games at the World Cup, and like
Mm.
as much as he's able to kind of get around the pitch, I was watching him getting smashed. Was it Cape Verde they played the other night?
Yeah,
And
big
it was just
Marto, aren't they?
yeah, but he was getting battered and muscled off the ball by
Yes.
these players that, you know, they're supposed to be, and this isn't to any disrespect to them, but they're not supposed to be on the same level as these Premier League players, you know, players in Serie A and Bundesliga, whatever it is. And he was getting bounced, and it's like, yeah, got to get this lad out, got to
Yeah,
get him out. But
I
he won't
agree.
leave. He won't want to leave. He's on a big salary as well. So he won't want to take a wage cut going to Serie A. Turkey for
Yeah.
me, that one. Ugarte. Yeah, I
Yes.
can see him. I can see him going to Turkey, but
Yeah.
wherever he goes, he's got to go quickly.
A man that I wouldn't really like to see the back of that is another out. So, is popped up. Is Vitek. Seems
Mm.
like he wants first team football, wants to be a starter in net. He's going to struggle now with Senna Lamons, who's obviously nailed down that place. I would have liked to have seen him come in as a backup, playing the cup games, be given a run of games here and there. But it seems like he's no, I'm happy to go. He's had a taste of first team football, hasn't he, at Bristol, did well, and now seems to want a permanent move. But I think United are probably looking at getting about 10, 15 million for him. So it's if he does want to leave, fair play, crack on.
I've got
Be a
well,
shame.
I've got a I think he falls if he does leave. Bear in mind, it's just rumours at the moment. But if he does
Mhm.
leave, he'll fall into the same category as a Tim Howard, Ben Foster, and Dean Henderson, in that like they haven't got the balls for the fight. So if you've not got the balls for the fight, off you pop. Like I understand that you want to be playing football and that you're at a young age, but if you're being brought back to Manchester United and told this guy's going to be the number one, right? Your dream when you was coming through at United was to be United's number one, wasn't it? How's that changed? You've just gone and got some experience at Bristol City. Now come and prove that you can do it at Manchester United. Fight for that position. Do what you can to get that position. Otherwise, when you go out and you look for a another goalkeeper, you're going to get someone that's basically gone. Yeah, I'm happy to just sit on the bench. Like Carl Darrow, Sam Johnston, like the ex Manchester United. Anyway, these players that are being linked, they're already happy to in their minds sit on the bench. But if
Mm.
Vitek's got anything about him, like just go for the challenge. Go for it. If you go bigger, it's all downhill for Manchester United. You're not going to a bigger team. Like he's not going to Barcelona. He's not going to Real Madrid. It's not going to happen. So either knuckle down, fight for your place at Manchester United, and at least for a season, and try and usurp Senna Lamons, or go off and then wonder what can be for the rest of your life. That's what I would say to
Mm.
Vitek. You got the dream; it's literally within your grasp. If you leave now, he's gone. He's gone forever. United ain't coming back for you 5 years down the line. Forget it.
Mm. Yeah, it's always a difficult one with goalkeepers, isn't it? Because there is only one position in that team,
Mm.
and you can't play any other positions. It's literally nailed on there. And the managers do like to have, as is the right thing to. You have a number one, you have a backup. So if he's not learned to play backup dancer, yeah, good luck to you, sunshine, and move on.
Overrated or underrated? It's that segment in the show when we talk about Manchester United players from past and present and then try to decide whether or not they were overrated or underrated, as the title suggests, obviously. Last week we did Jesse Lingard and we were trying to we're trying to work out how many other players we've done. We did have a decent list, but you
Yes.
can go to, there's a playlist, especially on YouTube, on Fergie's Gun MUFC. If you go search it out on YouTube, there's a playlist there where you can look back on all the old ones to see which ones we've done before. But Mr. Cropper, you are doing today's. You have got the player today.
I have.
Who
Right.
have we got?
Am I doing that? Am I doing clues?
You do the introduction, and then at the end of it, I'll try and guess who it is.
Oh, right. Okay. Right. Okay. So I won't mention his name. So this is a man that has made 545 appearances for Manchester United. It's a lot when you think about it. A 12-year
It is.
spell, won 8 major trophies with the club, including the Premier League, the FA Cup, 2 League Cups, Europa League. He got Sir Matt Busby Player of the Year 4 times, PFA Team of the Year 5 times. I brought this in because I take a lot of flack for giving this man some stick. No, I'm just wondering from them. Have you managed to get it? There is another clue there, but I know you get it straight away. So go on. Have you
No,
guessed? And then I'll give it.
tell me what the other clue is.
All right, okay. So he got Premier League Golden Glove twice, 2017
Right.
and 2022.
Okay.
So from
Okay.
that, the man that we're talking about is
I thought it was David De Gea, and it is David De Gea, right?
David
Because
De Gea.
I got it
Dave.
when you said about the how many player of the seasons he'd got. But yeah,
So Nathan, on that name drop, I would like to tell me, is David De Gea overrated or underrated?
oh, I think
Yes.
so. It is a
Like
good
that,
one.
innit?
It is a good
It's
one.
like that.
I do like this one. I do like this. I'm going to say underrated. I'm going to say David De Gea was underrated for Manchester United. I know what your opinion is on him. We spoke about him at length many a time. But the reason for me is that he played, and you have to remember this, he played in some terrible Manchester United squads.
Yes, he did.
In
Yes,
some
he did.
terrible Man United squads. And I feel like he deserved better. I feel like he deserved to be like in squads that were challenging more, that were more robust, that weren't so shaky in front of him. And the reason why he got so many accolades was because he came to our rescue so many times. You know, he always popped up with a save, whether it was with his legs, whether it was like top corner save. And I think one of the reasons why I think he's underrated, and I think like the recency bias kind of makes him seem like he was a bit shaky and not very good, is because of that trend that let's remember, the trend of sweeper keepers is gone. It was a thing for about 2 years. Now that's over. Competent
It is.
goalkeepers is all you want right now. So that era is gone. So what Dave was getting in terms of the slander was whether or not he could kick it. And he wasn't very good at that. Would he struggle with this new tactic now with Arsenal? Yeah, he absolutely would. But you would hope that the defenders that are in the box with him are able to be savvy enough to do something about it and to be able to protect him. But in terms of what he did for Manchester United and the teams that he played in, so you got the full picture. Yeah, I think he's underrated. He got the awards, he got the accolades, which would suggest that he was well rewarded for everything that he did for Manchester United. But no, David De Gea was underrated for me.
Not having it at all. No, you know my thoughts on De Gea, and I'm not going to completely bash him. You know, when you look at those stats and you look at everything that he has won and the amount of appearances, you don't get to beat United for 545 games and be completely garbage, do you? But I called him Panhands Dave, didn't I? Because everything just bounced off his hands. I'm not doubting he made some world class saves. I'm not doubting he did have some very, very good appearances. But you can literally go on YouTube now and you can get a 10-minute clip of the mistakes that he made. And that's what infuriated me is the fact that, all right, goalkeepers have mistakes here and there. De Gea made some absolute stinkers. So, yeah, I get what you're saying. He played in some poor teams. He has to take a lot of the blame for some of the mistakes that he made. And I don't think he was very command. With De Gea, look at 12-year spell. He had 3 or 4 years where he was too weak. He was young. He was brought in very, very young money from Atletico Madrid, and he wasn't physical enough for the Premier League. I think his shot stopping got him out of a lot of issues, but everything else, remember players would just lump it on him from corners, same that they did with Onana and things like that. So he had 4 years where he wasn't, and then he had a 3 or 4 year spell where he was probably, well, obviously according to what he's won, world class. And then I think he had another dip where he just fell off completely. And it was this pass back. He's not good enough at kicking. He's kicking, you played it. His kicking was atrocious, let's be honest. The amount of times he just boot it out of play, and I'd be shouting at the telly like an idiot. What are you doing? Why are you just kicking it out of play? Because he wasn't comfortable, and then teams would play on that. But for him to get what he's got, he's done well with his career. But I'm still saying overrated, Ethan, because he was nowhere near the likes of Petr Cech, let alone David Seaman, Peter Schmeichel, Oliver Kahn, Buffon, Toldo. I could probably name 40 goalkeepers that were better than David De Gea. So that's my opinion. I mean, even if you think back to like Courtois, people like this, top class, and De Gea for me was never ever anywhere near them type of players. But he has won things. I'm going to stick with calling him Panhands Dave because that was my nickname for him. And yeah, for me, overrated.
But I think you're right. But then he was a shot stopper. That's what he was good at. It was the reflexes that made him the goalkeeper that he is. It wasn't the commanding of the area. That's a very different type of goalkeeping prototype. So it's not like he was ever going to do that. He was like a mouse of a man. I never felt like there was ever any fear with him, but he needed someone that was in front of him that was gonna be the captain, the leader, the one that was shouting and things like that. I don't know. I think he's looked upon unfairly because of, as you say, you can make a bad compilation about anyone. You go onto YouTube and look up like Ronaldo, you'll be able to find a compilation of all of his misses. I'm sure someone could clip us up and get all of the ums and
easily.
ahs and the problems that we've had with remembering names or the trying to remember news that we'd read 2 minutes before we'd come on the show. Do you know what I mean? So I respect your opinion. Obviously, like if you thought he was a bad goalkeeper, then that's your opinion on it. But for me, given the squads that he played in, and I don't think he played in terribly good teams, I think De Gea was probably underrated. And I think as time goes on, we'll look back on his period as a Manchester United player and we'll do so favourably. Okay, before we finish off this show, I thought it might be worth going back over some of the transfers that we're talking about in Cropper's Transfer Corner, and not specific like individuals or anything like that, and like if they're going to happen, but more just the idea that we probably need to calm down a little bit as Manchester United fans, because these things happen all the time. We're never always going to get the number one target. Rarely does that happen. I mean, the number one target, if you think about it, it's not even Mateus Fernandes, as we talked about earlier. The number one target was Elliot Anderson, but Nottingham Forest decided that 125 million isn't enough to get him in. So, that's rightly so. Manchester United went, we're out. See you later. We're not paying that for him. Yeah. I think he'll go on to a fantastic. Yeah, exactly. He'll have a fantastic career at Man City if he does make that move under Enzo Maresca. But if United need to walk away, they need to walk away. So what I thought we'd do is we'd go back through the annals of time and look at some of those sliding door moments where we didn't get the number one target, but then we got a different one and how that panned out. So I'm going to start with where it went well, and I'm going to we can just talk about them how you felt about it at the time, whether or not you thought that we got the better deal out of it. But this is the list that I put together anyway. And we'll start with the most obvious one. Can you imagine which one I'm going to start with? Can you
Has to
tell
be
me?
Ronaldinho, right? Has to be
There
Ronaldinho.
we go. There we go. So Ronaldinho obviously chose Barcelona. I'm fairly certain it was Peter Kenyon that stitched us up in that deal as well,
Mm,
as he did
yes,
with
it
Robin,
was.
as he did with
Yep.
Robin as well. Because I think,
Yep.
as far as the rumours went, Ronaldinho was keen to sign for Manchester United, and they couldn't agree a fee, so he ended up going to Barcelona. But
Mm.
from that, we ended up getting Cristiano Ronaldo. That was back in 2003. So in terms of how those careers panned out, would you have even swapped that? Or do you think we got better out of that? We missed out on Ronaldinho. We got Cristiano Ronaldo. The rest is history, so to
Ah,
say.
it's like swapping a 10 out of 10 for another 10 out of 10, isn't it? So it's a difficult one to have. Ronaldinho, because it was linked during, I think it might have been another World Cup, yeah. But you're right, it was Peter Kenyon when he made his move to Chelsea. So he just said, because Ronaldinho on his documentary, I think, says it was nearly done. It was pretty much signed
Mm.
for and done. And when you watch him at PSG, and because I can't remember how old I was back then, young, he were outstanding when he just got you really excited for him to come. So I was gutted when he signed for Barcelona, absolutely gutted. But then, like you say, Cristiano comes in and turns into best player in the world. So yeah, sliding door moments. You'd have Ronaldo, wouldn't you? You'd have
Yeah, of
Ronaldo.
course. And it was exciting because I remember back to when he made his debut against Bolton and he had that
Mm.
little bit of
Noodle
stringy
head.
thing in his hair, that little bit of string in
Yeah,
his hair. He had the little blonde streaks as well, the highlights in his hair. And he came onto the pitch, this absolutely skinny kid, lanky kid though, came onto the pitch, started doing those step overs. I'm like, what's this? What's
yeah,
this? I love this. Keep
yeah,
going, lad. What is this? And he got he
yeah.
got booted, didn't he? Every single time he got on the ball near the byline, the Bolton players were like, no, trying to clatter him, and he kept getting back up and going for it. And it was the first time in a long time when I looked at a player, probably since Cantona. I know that's it's a huge gap in that. But I looked at it and I was like, this, this is amazing. This is what football is. It's fantastic. And then it's like getting onto Pro Evo, right? Get him in the team, get him right. He's signed up for United. Get him doing the step overs. There we go. And
Yeah.
I think that
But
might have been the last time I was that excited about a player signing, if I'm honest. Apart from Rooney.
key word there, Nathan. Excited. You want to turn up. You want to go to Old Trafford, and you want these players that are going to make you excited. Cristiano Ronaldo did that. Obviously, Ronaldinho would have done that as well. But yeah,
Mm.
yeah, brilliant. I think we did all
I,
right there, didn't we? Off that one.
Yeah, I think in terms of excitement, we'll move on to the next one. In terms of excitement, this wasn't one at the time that you probably would have been massively excited about because of the person that we missed out on. But Alan Shearer, 1996, leaves from Blackburn, goes back to Newcastle, his boyhood club. Manchester United get Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and there's a very famous chant that goes on around the stadiums about him being uh, an expletive cheaper than Alan Shearer, which which we won't put in there. It's a family show, It's a family show. We
Yeah,
won't
yeah,
put it
yeah.
in there. But
For the kids.
that was another one where you think about that at the time, and you're like, oh my god, we've missed out on him, missed out on the top scorer, absolute legend of a player. But then Solskjaer comes in and wins everything. Shearer wins zero, zip. Enjoyed his career, still Premier League top goal scorer even after all this time. But I mean, in terms of career paths, Solskjaer, show us your medals, put your medals on the table. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. He was an unknown quantity, wasn't he, when he came in, and we are like, oh, we just missed out on Alan Shearer, probably the best striker in the world at the time, which he was. He was an animal, Alan Shearer, no matter what you've got to say against him because he didn't come to United. Alan Shearer, when you do Premier League teams of the year, I always put Alan Shearer in there.
Yeah.
Always just think he was absolutely brilliant. And yeah, I was gutted when he missed out, but then to bring in this unknown quantity and then a finisher of his ability, like wow. And he never really started games, did he? But when he came on, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer produced. And all the players always say who's the best finisher? Solskjaer, no doubt.
I mean, you get
Probably
you
go
get
through Van der Sar, to be fair, but Gunnar Solskjaer was up there with him, if you're led to believe. what they
Yeah,
say.
100%. I mean, the two biggest moments that Solskjaer gave fans of a certain age was obviously the Champions League final, scoring that goal um, against Bayern Munich at the new camp in '99, but also the who was it that who was it that he took down? It was a Newcastle United player, wasn't it? When
Possibly
he
was, yeah, when he was clean through, wasn't he? Yeah, brilliant.
he chases it. For anyone that has not seen it, type in Solskjaer red card. I'm fairly certain it'll be the only result that comes up. But United lose possession. They need to win that game as well, don't they? Or they need to get a draw. He's like tearing down the pitch. I wish I knew what player it was. I'm fairly certain it's Newcastle. Comes tearing down the pitch. Solskjaer's running after him. Looks like he's never going to catch him, but he does because he lunges at him from about 20 feet away. Instant red card from Uriah Rennie. I love the fact, I think it's Raymond van der Houw that's in net. He comes out like briefly to kind of argue, oh, come on, don't send him. And then as soon as the red card's produced, he's like, yeah, fair. And then just walks back to his goal. It's indefensible. Indefensible. But if you've not seen it, or even if you just want cheering up, go and watch it again. Yeah, exactly.
Gets a full-on round of applause from Old Trafford. I mean, we've all gone, yeah, you had to do that. Brilliant. Yeah, take your punishment. Well done. Free kick, Newcastle. There you go, winners.
Exactly.
Yeah, brilliant moment. But yeah, these moments, Nathan, if you believer in fate, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer winning the Champions League for us, etc. Exactly. That's the way it goes down. Yeah, no,
exactly.
Fantastic.
I've got quite a few more here, but I don't want to go through each of them in forensic detail. So I'll skim a few of these. But a big one that was kind of loosely linked to missing out. I think Manchester United always wanted a maverick. Sir Alex Ferguson wanted a maverick that was in the team that was going to get people getting the seats clacking, as we talked about, getting those standing ovations. And the person that he earmarked, or the player that he earmarked for that role, was Paul Gascoigne. So Gazza was the one that he wanted for that role, and it looked like it was going to be done. And he actually, if you read his autobiography, Paul Gascoigne's autobiography, which is great and really reveals the tortured soul of a man, by the way, you can tell why he's in the state that he's in now, put it that way. But he promised Sir Alex Ferguson that he was going to join, and then Spurs gave him a call, and then that was it. It was done and dusted. He went to London instead, and would Fergie have been able to contain that? Who knows? No one knows that. But United missing that maverick, they then ended up turning to Eric Cantona from Leeds United, who I still cannot believe let him go for the amount that they did. I think it was only £1 million that they let Cantona go for, which is ridiculous. So missing out on Gascoigne, getting Cantona, not a bad one, that is it?
No, it's not. It's not, is it? Who are Cantona in that shirt with the collar up? Yeah, legend, isn't he? He's a legend. I'll just throw this out there. I loved Gazza as well at the time. Thought Gazza was brilliant, and you like to think that if he was brought into Manchester instead of went to London under the guidance of Sir Alex, he wouldn't have had the personal life that he would have had. I think he probably would have been reined in a little bit more. Whether it would have worked out or not, I don't know. But yeah, it's like,
yeah, I've got my opinion is that Gazza is a tortured soul and has been from day one. And I don't think there was any saving his trajectory of where it was going to go. And I think also as well, it's kind of disrespectful to kind of consider that the managers and coaches and the teams that he had around him at Spurs, at Lazio, at the teams that he went to, did him a disservice by not keeping him in check, and that only Sir Alex Ferguson could have helped him. He'd have done that. People with addictions, they do what they want to do. That's what they're going to do. They'll find a way to do it. And I don't think Sir Alex Ferguson would have been the miracle worker that everyone thought. It might have changed his trajectory, but it did not right now. So that's the only facts that you can have in place. So yeah,
and we signed
top player though.
We signed the God, didn't we?
Eric Cantona.
So there you go.
Yeah.
And
of course.
And Manchester United.
Little facts about Gazza. Little facts about Gazza.
All right.
He when he was at Spurs, our school in Haywood had to write off to a football team, like to like get them to send a letter back, like an official letter back. It was just as practice to like writing letters as a kid. And Spurs were the only ones that wrote back. I think it was Spurs and Southampton. One of the lads in my class had Southampton. Spurs sent me a football that had been signed by Gaza, Gary Lineker, and a few of the other players, and a program and a letter to Nathan.
Really?
It's in an attic somewhere. I don't know where it is, but unless my mum
Brilliant.
sold it. She
Yeah,
has
well,
got a
yeah.
gold. She has got a gold top hat. I don't know where she got that from.
Yeah.
Maybe she
Well,
did.
with Cantona, United now, just want to say, would not be the team that we are, this biggest team in the world, if it wasn't for Eric Cantona. Completely turned around our fortunes and can't be underestimated whatever he did. So if you're saying, oh, you get Cantona, you miss out on him, you always pick Cantona. Simple.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Yes.
And even my dog is named Eric after Eric Cantona.
Eric.
So there we go. There we go. The last few that I've got, the last three that I've got in the went well after missing out on the first target. Arjen Robben. Do you remember who we went for after that? Again, a Peter Kenyon production because he offered less and then ended up at bloody Chelsea after he messed this deal up. Who did Arjen Robben
Who
lead
did-
to?
Who did
Indirectly,
Robben?
I would say, again, this one.
No, go on.
Well, Rooney.
Well, right, okay, yeah. Well, I'll take that. I'll take that every day. Take that every day. Yeah.
Indirectly again, but the pursuit was Arjen Robben, trying to bring him in. Brilliant player, love Arjen Robben. But Wayne Rooney, I mean, put your medals on the table. Robben didn't do too bad actually. I mean, he won everything wherever he went. I think he definitely had a great career at Bayern after he left Chelsea. So yeah, I think. But Wazza, it's got to be Wazza,
Wazza.
isn't it? Wazza.
One. It's always Wazza.
John Obi Mikel, Chris's mate and fellow podcaster, John Obi Mikel, 2006 United were deep into that one until
He had his shirt, his name on the shirt, didn't he, and everything. Yeah.
until shenanigans happened. But who did we get instead of John Obi Mikel?
Carrick? Was it?
Carrick?
Oh, he's done all right there, Crawford. Michael Carrick.
That's the boy. That's the boy we know. Yeah, it was Michael Carrick, now manager of Manchester United, of course. So that one worked out okay as well. John Obi Mikel, I'm not saying that this when we say it went well, it's not that those players turned out to be crap. Like John Obi Mikel went on to have a fantastic career at Chelsea, linchpin in those Jose Mourinho teams. I was actually gutted when we missed out on him for United, like because I remember reading about him being like, oh yes, this is the keen player that we want. This is the one that's going to come in and going to be that destroyer that we want in there. So yeah, I was gutted when he didn't end up doing it. But yeah, Michael Carrick, the metronome.
Okay. Take Carrick over Mikel. Definitely.
Fair. And then the last one I've got, Eden Hazard, another player that ended up going to Chelsea. Do you know when I was doing the research on this, I couldn't believe that these two players changed clubs at the same time. I thought my numbers were completely off. Eden Hazard. Who did United get instead of Eden Hazard?
Talking wingers.
No, I'm talking star players. So that's
okay.
That's a little clue for you. Sir Alex Ferguson's last season.
Robin Van Persie.
Robin Van Persie.
Robin Van Persie. Yeah, Van Persie. Yeah. Hey, that went all right, didn't it? So that was the same year, was it?
It was, yeah.
Right. Okay.
I thought the timings were completely different, but yeah, he joined. He joined from Lille in 2012.
How much for it? It was around about 30 million. It was a lot of money they paid for him, wasn't it, back in? Because he was like the wonder kid everyone was talking about, and he got glowing reports. And quite rightly so, because Eden Hazard in his prime was outstanding. But that season we got from Van Persie. You don't say, oh, we'll have him instead of Van Persie, do you? Because fantastic season.
So it does lead though nicely onto where it all went wrong, because do you remember the player we obviously bought Van Persie as a star player, But do you remember who we bought as the winger instead of Eden Hazard? Or not even a winger, but the attacking midfielder. So we bought a midfielder that didn't. He came with a lot of promise, but didn't quite hit the heights. I'm just going to tell you.
Anderson?
Sh-
Anderson?
No, 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 no. Remember, Anderson was way before that. Uh,
Yeah, I know. Go on.
Shinji Kagawa.
Really? Okay. Mm,
Kagawa never quite hit the heights that we wanted him to. Fair play though. He wasn't at United sorry, he wasn't under Ferguson for very long. I think it was just that one season, right? And then he was off, and then it was David Moyes, and well, the rest is history with that. Great servant to Manchester United, Kagawa, but just never hit those creative heights. I think what we were kind of expecting to have at that time was like a Bruno Fernandes.
mm,
Like what Bruno is doing now, the assists and being able to grab a goal as well. Look like a Japanese Paul Scholes is what we thought we were getting, I guess,
yeah.
but didn't quite work out that way. Moving swiftly on, Thiago. Oh, it's
Yeah. Yeah.
oh,
Oh,
that was a
oh, it was
rough one.
horrible.
That was a rough
Yes,
one
it
for
was.
David Moyes. That was a rough one.
Yeah. Well,
And who did we
it was
get?
meant to be Cesc Fabregas and Thiago and Tony Cruz, wasn't it? And you're like, oh, and Gareth Bale. What a some of that have been? And we got the big man, Marouane Fellaini, didn't we?
It was. I like
Yeah,
Fellaini. I like Fellaini, but he was not the midfield metronome that we needed at that point in
he was
time. He
not
was
the
a
answer.
battering ram and had always been a battering ram for Everton, all elbows, all hair. And I think, to be honest, he's a cult hero for United, I thought, because he won did he win FA Cup and League Cup at United?
Yeah, I think he did, to be fair, didn't he? Under
But
Mourinho. Well, I think he won some things under Mourinho, didn't he? So, is
yeah, but he was
that
he
right?
was a he was a pressure deadline. Sorry, a transfer deadline day dash, wasn't he? Like,
Yes.
we got to get him in. So a little bit like Juan Mata as well. It was flies in his helicopter, falls out with Jose Mourinho, and then we're picking off their leftovers. But Juan Mata had a great career as well at Manchester
Yeah.
United, I feel. Not well, a decent career, let's say that. Tony Cruz is also on there. Tony Cruz, when we missed out on him because we wanted to go big with a player, who did we end up buying at a then British record, mate?
No, go on.
Angel Di Maria.
Mm, yeah, I'm thinking
Now,
like for like here, but yeah, that
yeah, it's not always like for like. It's
no,
sometimes who do we
just get
spend
someone
the
through the
big
door.
bucks on? Yeah. So it's
Yeah,
like so
yeah.
so to relate it back to what we've currently been talking about, it's the if we miss out on Mateus Fernandez, where does that 80 million get spent? You know, we'll come on to the worst example of that in a minute, but we're working our way down the list, and it's when you miss out on that, and it's like, oh right, okay, well we've got to take this. Have they been good? You get Ronaldinho, you get Cristiano Ronaldo. You also get, are we going to get Tony Cruz? No. Right, we're going to sign Angel Di Maria, who didn't want
Mm,
to leave Real Madrid really. Hated every second in Manchester, had his house broken into while I was there. His missus was slating the weather in Manchester like she'd never even checked the forecast there ever before and looked up what the climate's like in Manchester. Yeah, just a terrible signing for many reasons for him and for the club. Just desperate during Ed Woodward's crazy phase. I don't think he ever came out of the crazy phase until he left. Uh, N'Golo Kante. Now, this was a little bit of a surprising one. I had to dig back in to this one to try and work out where this connection came from. But if you go back, there were rumours and there were reports that he was their number one target after Leicester won the league,
mm.
and they were in for him, and it looked like they were going to get it over the line. But I think United were having trouble negotiating with Leicester after the Harry Maguire one. So they were struggling. They were struggling to get a fair price because Woodward's a wet blanket. Who did they sign that summer in
Go on.
2016? Mr. Paul Pogba. Again,
Mm,
I'm rating that as a miss. And two completely different profiles of midfielder. I
yes,
just I
and
just thought
uh,
and a big
so you see,
Billy
Go on.
Big Balls.
Yeah. So you're saying we couldn't negotiate a fair price, but then we paid a stupid amount of money for Pogba. But it was
Exactly, mate.
packaged as this bring in the next superstar. And I remember us, Nathan, going, "Wow, we're getting him back. We're doing this. We're doing that." And
Oh, we was
Pogba
all
did.
excited about it. We was all
Yeah,
excited about
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Let's not rewrite history here. We were all
yeah.
excited about it, but when you look back,
Hindsight
it,
is a wonderful thing, isn't it? And the right
exactly.
thing to do would have been to pay an extra 5 million for N'Golo Kante, who probably would have gone on to be the best midfielder in the world if you. Well, it probably
Mm,
was anyway. But if he
he
was in a
was.
Manchester United shirt, he would have been everything for us, money. But yeah, that I put that down as a miss as well.
Yeah. This one's a massive one, and this is one that I'll never forgive Manchester United for. He's banging in the goals at the World Cup right now, and he was recommended by a certain Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and they could have got him for about 2 million or maybe even less. Maximum 5 million for this player. Erling
Mm,
Haaland. Erling
yeah,
Haaland missed out on him,
yeah.
and we replaced that target. Oh, it's all right. We'll just get Igavo, a lad who's played for Watford on a free
Mm.
transfer. We'll get him in. In fact, did he come in on loan? He came in on
Yeah, he
loan,
did.
didn't he?
He did. Yeah. So are you having that as a hit or miss, Nathan? What? Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
hang on. Let me
Never
think. Let me
think.
think. Let me crunch
Never
the
think.
numbers. Let me crunch the numbers. There we go. Yeah, that was a
Mm,
bad one. That was a rough one.
certainly was.
But
Well,
I'll
at the
never
same
forgive him
time, a
for that.
similar one was Jude Bellingham, wasn't it? So Ole Gunnar
That was the
Solskjaer
next one.
wanted the pair.
That was the
Oh,
next one.
sorry. Yeah, sorry to jump in there. He wanted the pair of them, didn't he? So
He did.
big misses there. It's it. The whole point of it, like you said, Nathan, is you can't have everyone, can you? You can't go panicking when players don't sign for Manchester United because there will be a next option. The thing is with Ineos, we can't afford to miss out on a Haaland and a Bellingham, can we? We're not in a situation
No.
to be doing that. But you need to make sure you get some. You need to get them right, don't you? You can't afford these misses because we've done that too many times with the past 20 years. You need to have some
However,
hits as well.
I think the key to what you're talking about is to be prepared for missing out on that target so that you have got the money that is going to be spread around. Right, okay, we missed out 120 million. We had 100 million earmarked, let's say, for Elliot Anderson. We was going to go to that limit. Right, what happens? What's the contingency plan if we can't get him? And then that's when you Ineos earn their crust, so to speak. You know, that's when they come into their own. Right, okay, well, we're going to spend the money here and here because we can strengthen
Yep.
these areas. It can't just be right. We've got 100 million to spend. Right, okay. Elliot Anderson's not available. He's gone to Manchester City. What are we going to spend it on? I don't know. Give 100 million to West Ham for Mateus Fernandez. Do you know what I mean? They just go to
Mhm.
overpaying for the player because
Yeah,
they've
yeah, just to get it done, just to get something
exactly.
done. It needs to be done
Yeah.
cleverly, doesn't it? Yeah, yeah, you're right.
Exactly. Tom Cleverley. We ended up getting we ended up getting Donny van der Beek in that, and obviously, you know, poor Donny. I do feel for
Didn't we
him,
have
but he
him
was,
down as the worst signing ever for United in the past 20 years? He was
yeah,
up there, wasn't he? He was definitely in the top 3 or 4, wasn't he? He was up
in
there.
terms of what he gave United, his injury record and the initial outlay. Yeah, he was one of the worst signings for Manchester United. This one, thought it was controversial, but I thought I'll throw it out there anyway. So when we missed out on Frankie De Jong under Ten Hag, we then brought in a certain Casemiro.
Mm.
Now, Frankie De Jong versus Casemiro. Did we miss with that signing, or did we hit with that signing? Was it better to get Casemiro, or was it worse to get Casemiro?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, I don't know. I love Frankie De Jong. I think I put it in the chat the other day. I just
Yeah,
love
you
watching
did.
every time he's playing. I just put Frankie De Jong and love him just because I love watching centre midfield like that. Call it a draw. Can I call it a draw with that one? 'Cause I think the
No,
Casemiro
no,
one when it's
no
there.
fence,
Yeah.
no
Do
fence
you know
sitting
what?
off the fence. Go on, jump on one
After
side.
watching that farewell video for Casemiro, I'm going to say it was a hit because
Ah,
that was he's come down as he's turned out to be, like you say, another cult hero, Casemiro. I think, can he,
mate,
for
that
Manchester United?
video.
So
If you haven't watched it, immediately turn this off now and go and watch it because it is fantastic. Like the whole video if you're time pressed, just go and watch the last few minutes to see what Manchester United meant to Casemiro, a man that had won multiple titles and Champions Leagues with Real Madrid, who has achieved the highest heights with Real Madrid. And look at how he feels about leaving Manchester United. He barely won a thing, but the lad's in tears. And yeah, it got to me, that goosebumps, because it made me
Gooses.
feel like you often see that. I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but you often look at players and you think they don't care about this club. They only care about the money that they're making, and that's it. But Casemiro in that interview, it made me feel like there are players in that squad that do care about Manchester United as much as we do as fans. They do care about the heritage. They do care about getting it back to the top. They do care about what happens in the day to day. And yeah, it was fantastic. So I'm going to class that one as a hit as well. Frankie de Jong
Just
got injured for like a year after that anyway, I think.
Yeah, there was also a thing that I'll just put this on it, which made me go over. Frankie, we chased him, and he kept saying, "I don't want to leave Barcelona," and that's the
Yes,
position we should be in now as Manchester United, saying we don't want to come out and move on. So,
exactly.
so yeah, yes,
Exactly. But they didn't have the football people in place at that point. It was
no,
just the Glazers, and was it Woodward at the time with that?
yeah, I
It would have
think
been,
it was.
wouldn't
To
it?
be fair, yeah, I think
And
it
and
was.
he didn't know what he was doing, and it was like, just keep chasing him, just keep chasing him. And yeah, didn't know when
He
to
said
take
no
the
like
line off.
5 times, didn't he? And
Yeah.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
like, "Right,
Well, you have to wonder
great."
why they're saying yes now. And I think it is to do with the fact that Manchester United behind the scenes, in terms of like Woodward and the setup that was going on there, it was probably being spread around the football world that this is not a sustainable place to be. If you go there, it's like, it's crackers. You don't know what you're going to get. You don't know where you're going to be playing. You don't know who the manager's going to be. You can't go somewhere that's not stable. So I think that's changing now, and that you can say that's because of Ineos and the things that they put in place. So fair play to them on that. The last one that I'm going to do, and this is a big one, we went for Karim Benzema. It was one of the things that we really wanted. We really, really wanted Karim Benzema 2022. No, not 2022. That's
No, it
way
must have been
too late.
before then.
No, it was before that. It was basically when Ronaldo left. It was when Ronaldo
Right,
left. So we wanted him. Was that 2009? Was it 2009 when he left?
possibly. Yeah, it will have been around there, won't it?
It was 2009.
Yes.
But
They all,
we,
when you get to our age, mate, they all blur into one, don't
I
they?
know
Usually.
exactly like birthdays, mate. But the Karen Benzema one, again, I thought that one was going to be done. We missed out on
Mhm.
him after Ronaldo, and we thought that he was going to come in, and this is the striker that we need. He was the new Van Nistelrooy, so to speak,
Yeah.
and we didn't get him. And I mean, you can even put two players on this. When we got rid of Ronaldo, the player that we got in,
Put 3 on. Put the
when
3 on there, Nathan.
well, the player, because it's slightly different to what we're talking about. So we miss out on a transfer target. Let's talk about that bit first. Miss out on Karim Benzema. This is one where you go, right, okay, well, we've really got to get a striker in. Who are we going to get? I'll tell you what, we'll get Mike Owen on a free transfer. Barring his great goal in the derby, the last minute one, which we will always cherish, that signaled to me United are not a serious football club anymore, because that signing was dreadful. And then to replace Ronaldo, again, going off on the tangent, but I know that's what you want to talk about. To replace Ronaldo with Antonio Valencia, a great player, fantastic player for Manchester United, but not on that level at all. Not going to replace those goals, regardless. And Gabriel Obertan was the other player. That, for me, that's miss out on your target and, pardon the French, but shit the bed on the other side. That's insane for me. Unreal.
Never
And
really
that's what
recovered from that, did we?
and
As a
no, we
club.
didn't. And that's the issue. That's been the problem ever since then. They've been known as a club that would just panic buy. And it's
Mhm.
caught us out every time. Look at the Harry Maguire deal. They told us it was going to be was it 70, 80 million at the start of
80
the
million,
window?
wasn't it?
Said
Yep.
said it was 80 million at the start of the window. They went, oh no, we're not paying that. And then comes to the end of it because they can't bring anyone else in. It's 80 million again. I think they ended up paying slightly more for him. So yeah, Disaster. Enjoyed that though, going back through the annals
Good.
of time. I will say though, with all that in mind, do focus on the positives. When you're thinking about Manchester United and you're feeling a bit stressed about the fact that they haven't signed Matheus Fernandes, that they haven't signed Sandro Tonali, Carlos Baleba, Elliot Anderson, all of these players, when you're thinking we haven't got those players, console yourself with the next person in that is on that list could be even better. It could be a Cristiano Ronaldo, could be an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, rather than a Michael Owen.
Or an Eric Cantona.
Exactly. Right then, that's the end of the show. It was a good one, that. Enjoyed that, mate. Fantastic as always. Thanks again for joining us. I mean, you're always here. I shouldn't have to thank you. You're a staple of this show now. We will be back again next week and probably talking about transfer targets from the World Cup.